did not say anything about fat people being pretty.
Because I think I'm pretty.
You are a dog.
That's right.
For the long way round, 2 bottles of whiskey for the way. And I sure would like some sweet company. And I'm leaving tomorrow, what do you say? When I'm gone, when I'm gone. You gonna miss me when I'm gone. Gonna miss me by my head, gonna miss me everywhere. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? This is Nate, host of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. And I have with me today Miss Tierra Nicole Strickland, better known as Sweet Tea Sings. You can find her on all social media platforms under Sweet Tea Sings and on Facebook, Tierra Nicole Strickland. That video that you just saw was of a mutual friend of ours, really good friend, Mr. Martique Smith. As we did the show Friday, I spoke a little bit about him passing away recently, and we just are coming off the heels yesterday, actually, of a candlelight vigil at Arena Players in memory of him and supporting him. And that video clip was a clip that someone, one of his coworkers, had posted, and I thought it was very befitting in this moment because eerily, the song itself talks about moving on. And Martique was loved. He's one of them people that was loved. I always admired him because a lot of people don't like me, and I don't know. But Martique was definitely one of them people who could light up a room and everybody loved him, even in his faults, even in his flaws. And I just wanted to just spend a couple moments because Tierra knew him much better than I did. They grew up in a youth theater together, and I believe, did y'all go to school together?
Yes, we went to Coppin for a brief time. Yeah.
Coppin. Oh, yeah, Coppin together. And they had a really special relationship. Do you mind, sharing your thoughts or your feelings with us on said Mr. Martique?
Oh man, Martique has been and will always be my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Like we did lose a little bit of touch for some time, which happens when you get older and life goes on. But man, like I just remember all kinds of fun stuff at Arena Players together growing up. We would wander the halls and go through all the different rooms singing musical show tunes and, going over the dances and stuff that we were doing earlier in the day. Or if we weren't going over those dances, we would remember something that we did like 2-3 shows back and try to remember those daggone choreography or the moves and stuff for that. And one thing I can remember, 2 things actually I can remember. I made a post about it on Facebook where it was my senior prom and I did not have anybody to go with and I wasn't seeing anybody at the time. And he said to me that, well, if you can't find anybody else, I'll go with you. And I was like, oh, okay, well, great. And so I still kept looking and we got to about a week and a half maybe before prom. And I said, hey, I don't have anybody. He said, all right, cool. Well, just which your colors, whatever. And I didn't expect him to wear a white tux to my senior prom with the time frame, man. It was just that was the one. And then, that's what he does when it comes through. And then I remember when you remember when Rent Live was happening on TV,
right?
Everybody, I think, in our theater community was just like, all right, we will save all critiques for the end. And I didn't get on social media at all. until the end of the show. And the very first comment I remember seeing was Martique. And he said, and I quote, "Sing it, bitch." He said,
And
"Don't speak it."
that was the same
Talking
energy
about
he probably
Collins.
said it with as well.
All caps. And it took me a second because what he was talking about was Collins in what is the song?
And
I'll cover you. That thing. I don't even remember. I don't remember off the top of my head. But he was talking about that song in the first act, and we had already passed it, and it didn't click right away what it was. And then when I realized what it was, I bust out in laughter. So he created a memory for me that he wanted to be there for, and that's just who Martique was, man.
I mean, and I just remember last week when people started, when they post that video, and all I could say was that boy, because Martique was definitely a very supportive person, and if you needed him to do something, he was very much so there. If he was able to do it, and it was never a point of whether he could do it, but he always made a way. And it's just, with everything going on, this was definitely like a shocker to everyone. And I could just tell this, even the energy last night, you couldn't even really be sad because you still feeling the shock of, I know we're all getting much older, and, he had a family and working and being an artist, and all of us are like working artists and trying to balance life. So sometimes we do get distant, but it just forced me to, just reach out to people who I didn't. In my first post, I did the image with like the chair, and I just trying to, distract myself from the sadness. And I remember just posting, just give people their flowers now, because, and it's such a cliche thing that we always say after someone pass away, but it's just very important, specifically within our arts community. We always are so busy, and I think right now many of us are scrambling to do something because we just feel so stagnant, and many of our venues are really restricted. So we're trying to do things, but just make a moment, even if it's just a text message or email or a phone call, even just figure out a moment to work around this social distancing that we're now amongst us, and feel that void, and just talk to somebody, call somebody you haven't talked to, call somebody you mad at, call somebody that you never said you will never talk to again, but just figure that whatever that thing is out, and call somebody, because we're losing people, just all over the place. And we understand what's going on right now, but it's still, death is still bitter. Like, it still hits you no matter how prepared you are for it, or if you knew somebody was sick, it still doesn't hurt less. But just figuring it out, and getting over yourself. Let the ego go, forgive and let go. They have to go hand in hand. Forgive and let go, and just, hold people accountable, hold yourself accountable, and just communicate, because it's nothing like leaving this world with regret. I had just talked to Martique that weekend, and to hear it the way we heard it, it was just, I just talked to him like that. I knew he had issues, but I didn't know like they were going to affect him right now. Like, yeah, and so anybody that's listening, anybody that's going to hear the show a month, 2 years, 5 years from now, just give people their roses now. It's always been something that I try to do. I'll randomly reach out to people as I see people. I make sure I can make a connection and help people. That's really what the Artist Exchange was built on, just keeping that connection and keeping us connected. And, another fellow cop and player like Sweet Tea here, just, we have to do it. We don't have anybody else. Nobody else is helping us or reaching out to save us. So we got to figure this thing out ourselves before we reach out to any other persons or allies and so on and so forth. But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do something else a little bit more special on Friday, because Friday is actually Martique's viewing, And I posted on my page the flyer that his family put out. His funeral is Saturday, and the viewing is Friday at the Mount Street Wiley Funeral Home. So if you know Martique, go out, support him. There's a Cash App that is going to his wife and children to help support them. Martique was very much so a hardworking man that took care of his family. So to help her, balance these next couple months out and figure out what life is going to be without him, her Cash App is $RMICHAL. That's rather right.
I think so. I'm gonna make sure.
And Cash App, right. But I'll post it on it's posted on the Artist Exchange page, my personal page, and I'll share it out again at the end of the show. But without further ado, we have Miss Nicole with us today. Miss Sweet Tea. I have to I'm looking at your name on the screen, so I keep saying your performance title, your new company's title.
It's okay, we family.
Right, I know her as Tierra, Miss Strickland. But I first met Tierra at Coppin. I was away. I was out, and I came back to do. I think that's God's Trombone. Well, that wasn't God's Trombone. I don't know what that was, but it wasn't God's Trombone.
It was a version.
It was a
God's
version,
Trombone.
an adaptation of
yes.
of God's Trombone.
That's a good way of saying it was an adaptation.
An adaptation, because the one after that one was I can't even call that an adaptation. The second time you did it, she had a whipping chain on. I was like, "Where's God in this? Where's Jesus?" But I remember
Rachel.
Oh yes. Well, that was the second time. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She was the Whoopi Goldberg, the white lady in white for that one. But I first met her there, and again, because I was so far removed at that point, I didn't go to school with Nicole, so we really didn't hang out much. But I knew you were very talented. I got to watch you perform, and we actually got to perform together with that show. So Nicole is very talented. Tierra, I keep calling you Nicole. Tierra.
Again, we family. I go by all of them.
Whatever. I mean, the bank
just don't say "Hey you."
Hey you.
Excuse me.
Hey you, lady. Don't. But Tierra, I just know you were very talented, and she sings, she acts, she's a performer. She's out of the youth theater, and she's very much so a professional now. She's moved on, and she still acts, she still sings, but she's this YouTube sensation now. And I love watching the episodes and watching you grow in your technology, education. And I always, people who jump into things as artists, I know we try everything. And as urban artists from that UAP major, we were taught to do everything. You had to learn how to do a little bit of everything because you don't always get the main job. So what am I going to do if this doesn't work out? But tell us a little bit about
especially
your journey.
Working in smaller theaters. Shoot.
Yeah, you got it. Sometimes even as the star, you still doing other stuff. I was a part of a theater group, so you have to learn how to sell tickets, direct, and makeup and hair. You have to, and theater is that way. You have to be an ensemble. So if somebody's falling short somewhere, you got to help pick up the ball so we can get the show off the ground and running. But tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and where did this, artist in you come from?
Well, hello everyone, formally. I got started in performing at the age of 9.
Wow.
I'm gonna say at the age of 9, and I'm not 9 now, so we're just gonna leave it like that.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, so just a couple, just a little bit, But I got started at the age of 9 because those little theater shows that come to your school, and they perform for the kids. Well, one of them came to my school, and they usually pick kids out of the audience, and I always raised my hand to be picked, and I never got picked until this time. And I got up on stage, and I got to do stuff, and it was just so much fun. And because I was not a popular kid, it was the first time that all of my friends back then actually noticed me and said, "Oh my God, you're on stage. It was so much. Oh, you were so funny." And then I'm like, maybe this is what I need to be doing. Like, okay. And it just really snowballed from there. And I think Britt Bradley got me or told me about this summer camp. Yeah, she told me about Arena Players, and then I was telling my mom about it as one of her friends were talking about Arena Players, and then I just got started with Arena Players there. And
if people don't know the amount of people who have started, we know the big names like a Monique or a Jada, we know those names, but the other artists, most of the people from The Wire or some of the people from Homicide, they all started from the youth theater at some point.
Kids in The Wire.
Yep. So they're often, people don't realize the history and the legacy that building, that institution has with like cranking out. You see them on Broadway, they out in California, they all over the place. It's one of my biggest regrets because I don't know if you remember Winona Rock. She was my fourth grade teacher. She was a member there, and she wanted me to come there, but I was like, I'm gonna have to give up my evenings too. I ain't doing that. Everybody said, no, I'm not doing that. But it was one of my regrets because you all have such a rich connection with each other. So how was it growing up in the youth theater?
Oh, it was fun. We had a really good, like, special group of kids. Like, we were all very good special group of kids, and we were all like dedicated to getting the show off the ground. And that comes from, your good instructors like Troy Burton and Robert F. Chu, Lloyd Goodman, just a whole bunch of them, Laura Sly, just there's too many to name. There's so many instructors that were just there and really saw our potential as kids and really bred that professionalism into us. And that's how you have so many of us right now within that same, clump of kids that are on Broadway and doing tours, both national and international. You have people doing shows like YouTube shows or shows on television. People have been in movies. There's so many of us who've done so many different things that, man, it's crazy to think we all started in the same place.
If you had to just pick out a couple moments that kind of signified or encompassed your experience there, were there any productions or any moments that are fond memories for you?
I want to say Oliver was definitely one of my fond memories. It was one of the first times as a teenager I got to be like in a lead role there. And I was Nancy, and it was only one lead female role in the whole show, and I got it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And the dance to the song called Papa was always hard, and I was always out of breath, but we always had a lot of fun because there was so much improv and so much, commotion going on because we're in a tavern in that particular scene. So it was a bunch of stuff going on. It was that one. I loved Alice in Wonderland. It's one of my favorite ones because one thing about the youth theater is that they don't just do the script. They do the script and then they put their own seasoning on it. Like we as a culture do that with everything. We don't just do the normal stuff. No, we do that and we put our own little spin on it. And Alice in Wonderland was one of those shows that they definitely put their own spin on. We put our own music into it. We definitely embellished upon the different lyrics in the songs that were already there. And then we could all really sing and perform and just do it. And that was definitely a good one. Plus all the shows we want to do. Those are like the three top ones outside of the ones that we wrote. We wrote Murder Mysteries and we wrote Big Papa's House. So we did everything. We wrote, we directed, we choreographed.
It was a summer camp and it was an after school program, and you all got intensive training. Like I remember when I first was introduced, I would sit in on classes and I was like, I think they were working harder than I was at the time in my college classes. So I was like, I couldn't imagine having to work like that as a kid. But
Oh
many
man.
of you can definitely tell um, once you meet someone from youth theater, just the level of training that they got. And most of them always, for the most part, always contribute that to their experience with youth theater.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
did you plan to
One time.
do once you left youth theater? Because at some point they aged you out. But what were
Hmm.
you planning to do once you left youth theater?
Child, I was getting my degree in this because I loved it so much. I was, I was going to be on Broadway on somebody's professional stage, and I've gone on to do professional things too. I've worked at Toby's, I've worked at Red Branch, several
Hmm.
other theaters that are around the area of Maryland. I'm not supposed to say Baltimore, but the whole state and everything.
Right.
I've gone up and down the coast as far up as New York, as far down as Florida, and done some sort of performance in some way, shape, or form in those areas. Um, Goodness, I was going to take the world by storm, baby. I still am, okay?
Right.
Look, just because we're in quarantine don't mean that we ain't working in silence,
But I
okay?
think you're one of the ones who have realized you don't have to take the traditional route. And
Mm-hmm.
often it's not meant for many of us, especially people of color, to go the traditional route because there are a lot of doorkeepers that don't want people like you and myself to get through because we don't fit the mold or the image of what the standard is. So I think you've
Right.
discovered that you can do this under one of the things Amini told me. Nathan, you're going to have to do things non-traditionally because you
Mm-hmm.
don't look like what they're looking for. So you have to do things your way and find whatever path that is and beat that path up because they're not checking for us. They're not,
I
and that's why I think
remember
black art. Go ahead, go ahead.
I remember going to New York for an audition,
Oh,
and the way they did it, yeah. Whew. I know New York better than I know Baltimore. That's how many times I've been back and forth.
right.
But I remember going to New York for an audition, and they lined us up 10 at a time outside the door, the actual room we were going into. And so I was number 3. So the first person went in, sang their song, we can all hear it, and then of course we're outside as theater people do. We just kind of, okay, that was good. She didn't hit that note right, or whatever.
Mm,
Second person went in, we all did the same thing. When I went in and I sang my song, when I came out, silence, dead silence.
mm,
And then I heard people as I'm walking by say, "Oh, I'm scared." I never got the part, but that's how it is with
mm-hmm,
people of color sometimes because we can do, we have done, we will do,
mm-hmm.
but sometimes we don't get it. We don't get the part because of
Because they
something
love
or
our
another.
culture, but they don't love us often.
Right.
They don't love us, and most often I remember going my first time ever trying to audition for anything in New York. It ended up being something that I didn't realize I was walking into. It was like the biggest loser, and me and my
Mm-hmm.
friend went, and I remember one of the producers telling us like, you all would be great. It's just that we're just looking for a different image of a person. I said, we both fat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't that the purpose of the show? And the people who were auditioning, and like you said, they clump you off in groups. And I remember me and my friend being the only one that had any interest in entertainment or any experience. And she was telling us all these things we should try to do. And we said, like, none of these niggas over here got any experience on stage or performance or anything. And it's just the rules change for
Mm-hmm.
us. And and people think we complain a lot, but we actively see people cutting us down and sizing us up and measuring us with a stick that's not compatible with us. Like that's not, I've been told to be more urban or talk more black
Yeah.
or
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting this and the person don't even look like me. And what's worse, some of them did look like me what that was saying it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's sad and unfortunately. Miss Paulette say, hey cousin. Oh, that was my cousin. I'm sorry, he's talking to me. That's Fayon. Paulette
I
say,
saw
hey.
it.
But yeah, so what has been the toughest part about being an artist?
Being respected.
Mm.
That's tough because, and I actually did a Sour Notes, which is an episode. I'm sorry. Sour Notes is a series that I do on my YouTube channel. And it's pretty much for the artist. It's like for the performer.
Right.
This episode talks about getting a real job. This episode is talking a real job, all that stuff. And if y'all are interested, Sound Notes, all the episodes are literally about things that performers go through that maybe y'all just don't know as the audience members, and how y'all look to us sometimes, and trying to teach you not to do that, you know. But it's about respect, because people tend to think about art and they see it as a fun thing. They see it as just something that's easy. Oh, it's just coloring, it's just painting, whatever it is. And no, it's a lot of work that goes into it. It's a lot of time and blood, sweat, and tears, literally, that goes into every form of art, whether it's painting or whether it's acting, singing, dancing, cooking, anything like that. It's all art, and it all takes time, and you have to learn how to do it in order for, I don't know, you have to learn how to do it. It's just something that you have to learn, and people don't respect the fact that it does take time to create. It does take effort to create and skill to create. And that's why it bothers me when you hear people talking about, oh, they want to take art out of schools and stuff. And there's not a huge uproar about that, because everywhere you look, there is some form of art, from the building that you're in to the chairs and beds that y'all sit and sleep on, to just even, it goes beyond the posters and everything you see as you walk into the bus stop, or, you know, as you see on the billboards. It goes beyond that. Someone had to design that, you know, and that's what bothers me.
At least.
Yeah, so that's what really bothers me about that. Is just people just don't tend to respect it because it seems fun.
Well, it seems, and people think it's easy because even touching on the point of the school system, they don't want to take the arts out to school. They want to take artists out to school, and or force us to become these teachers that we didn't intend to be. So they're going to choose the teacher that moonlights as a guitar player and make them the art teacher, which takes the passion out of learning. And not to say that person doesn't have the passion, but that person chose to be a teacher. They didn't choose to be a full-time artist. And is that respect thing is a big thing, because often we get the disrespect first from the people who we want to support us and start us off in our support journey. And it's that idea of a real job is crazy, because most of us, we want to be famous, we want to be rich, we want to be comfortable and successful, but we also have this thing inside of us. And you touched on it a little bit, but it angers me when somebody just jumps on and gets put on, and they have no real connection to this other than, I want to make a couple dollars.
Right.
And then those are the people that now, that's why reality shows are now filling out TV slots, because, and I'm thankful that real TV is coming back now, but that just, cut us off, because they were searching for money. Our quality, the quality of who we are, was sit on the back burner somewhere. And that's cool. It hurts me that Angela Bassett doesn't get more recognition, or, somebody like that who's talented, who did the work, who put in the work, and they don't get they have to die first before they get the credit.
Right. It's like the art so it's like painters back in the day. People like Picasso and Van Gogh may not have gotten all of their respect and all of their, I guess, fame and fortune and stuff while they were living, but years and years and years after their death, their paintings are world-renowned. Their paintings are priceless, but also expensive. It's like, that's what happens when it comes. Yeah, it's about, why is art the field where you are most valued after your death?
But that's what, for us as Black people, most times we only become valuable once we die, and that's across all fields. Malcolm and Martin were not popular people in their moments. And even going into just the artistry, many of us won't receive the accolades, until we pass on. I was in my mind yesterday. I was like, how many of these people never told Martique how talented he was when they had him in his presence?
Right.
Now he has to hear it from the higher, space. But how many times did we give each other that level of respect? Because for me, it's not just the accolades; it's the people around us who choose not to show up to our events, who choose not to like and
I
share
haven't
our
found notes
project.
about that too.
Right. I watch. Tell me, I'll be watching, and I try not to comment because I have a a light, and I don't want to take over. But it really, those were my, I got a couple
Comment
more
all
to
you
give to
want.
you. I got a couple more to give
Please
you
do.
because, as a black, gay black man in the arts, I've been told I wasn't the right type of gay for a role, and I was like, what does that mean?
What?
Like, or to hire somebody who actually is that person versus somebody who has to dig deep and give you the watered down version of it. It's hard, and I've understood you from day one. And there were other people in our department at Coppin that understood and had our struggle. And it's crazy because we get into these cliques and we get into these, I just want to be an artist. I really just want to be an artist. And even throughout this pandemic, artists saved many people in this pandemic, because if we didn't take the initiative to get on these lives and show our creative self, many of these big businesses would not have done it. We would have been quiet for 5 months. You wouldn't have seen anything new or creative.
Y'all Netflix and your Hulu and your Disney Plus. Somebody had to create all them shows.
Right.
And now that's where everybody's running to because everybody bored in the house and they in the house bored.
Yep.
So, and it's just insane that we have to go through this. And then imagining we as Black performers and Black artists have to go through it even more. And people don't want to pay attention to that. I've been told the same things that you've been told. Just urban it up a little bit, or you're amazing. Just not what we're looking for. Well, what the heck is that? Oh my gosh, it's so many different things. We probably got stories for days.
We will have to do a crossover episode or something because it really. We understand what it feels like not to be chosen. That's fine. I have the confidence for that. But when you kind of nitpick at who I actually am and try to make that not enough, when what you're choosing is nowhere near, then you wind up having to fire that person or redo your whole series because this person didn't end up being what you needed because you chose, quantity over quality.
Right.
And it really hurts when I've gotten that New York hurt. I've gotten it, and it's funny now looking back because I probably didn't get it, the other ones, the subsequent ones, because I showed them a little bit of my Baltimore, and but they were nitpicking. Where are you from? I'm from Baltimore. Oh, I can hear it in the way you talk.
I've had that happen too. I did the Disney College program. And when I was down there, one of the managers pulled me into their office for whatever reason, I don't remember. And they asked me, where was I from? I said, I'm from Baltimore. He said, oh, you from Baltimore? I was like, yes. And he said, okay, well, that thing that you, it gets really hot and you go to press your clothes and stuff with, what is that thing called? I said, an iron? And he said, yeah, an iron. I'm like, so at the time it didn't click what he did, but when I left out of the office, I was like,
I would have went up. See, I understood that because I went to predominantly white schools, So I would have known exactly what he was done, and I would have got sent back home in that moment because I used to go. I was such a hothead when I got to Coppin because I had went to predominantly white Catholic schools. So I got all of that testing, and by the time I got to Coppin, you couldn't say nothing to me because I would go off and without even thinking about it. So I probably could have went further in my urban artist career, but I was so sensitive to and protective over my image and what people saw and what people perceive me as because you get picked apart so much.
You always have to do that though.
Right. And that's not training anybody or helping them to thicken their skin. That's judgment. That's a prejudice that you have. And often I've been told by fat people that I was too thick to be an actor. And I was about to say his name, but I'm not.
Stop.
But I'm just saying, but in many times, especially, and I don't think people understand when you are a trained actor, meaning you went to school for it, we got picked apart. Like normally the people who are raw talents, they have more confidence than we do because they haven't heard those things. So when they are adults in here, it's like, ain't nobody worrying about you. And we like that's another dagger to us. Because it's like, man, like what do I have to do? Like, and you shift yourself. And at some point I just stopped caring. I stopped caring and I stopped giving a
My
hell.
favorite ones are the ones that will come up to you and say, "Oh, so ain't you in that play? That's that they putting on at the school? Yeah. So like, can I get a discount? Mind you already get a student discount. Number one.
And it was free at college. It was free for the students. They get like what you. Oh, you want me to get
right? You already get a student discount.
They want you to get that girlfriend or that boy in.
Wait, my favorite one, because I've had people come up to me and they said, "Can you just give me a program and a ticket from the show?" I'm like,
nope.
Okay, why?
Nope.
They said, "Because I don't have the time to do this and the other. Can't you just tell me what it's about?"
You won't get that C off of my back. Nope, you won't.
Look here.
That's an F for
I have told people the wrong story on purpose when they ask me that question. I've told them the wrong story on purpose.
I never thought about that. I should have done that.
I have done it. And to those people who may be watching right now, I apologize for the F.
I don't. I take our apology back. You should have went to the show. Even just now, like we just finished doing a real nigga show. Just the value that we put into our own. Why are you buying tickets 5 minutes before? Like it wasn't and I understand not having the money because that was definitely me. I was getting the ticket sale money a couple minutes before the show started and running up there. But it's the value that we put into our own work that we don't, and we wonder why when Black artists get put on, they don't come back. We wonder why we don't see a Jada or a Monique or
everybody else sees the power that we have except for us. From the people that move into our neighborhoods and open up businesses to, the people that want us to talk to a certain group of people for them on their behalf, to any sort of faces that we need to be for some companies and stuff like that. We are that power, and they realize that we're that power, but we don't. That's why we don't support each other. I mean, I know we all have had them stories where we have tried to get our friends to come and see a show. I right now can literally outside, I want to say the arena players community. I can say I have had maybe about 10 people that are within the art community that I have invited, and they have come out to see my shows.
But I learned the hard way, and actually from James Brown, I learned from him to focus on the 5.
I should get on up right now.
Right. To focus on the 5 people that are always there. Mr. Brown, I don't care. I did a horrible play in my church with shower curtains as walls and with Martique and Dante and all of them, and it was horrible. And I didn't know where I was gonna get lights from. I had professional lights because Mr. Brown took time out of his schedule to come and do that. So we have to begin. And the reason I stopped complaining was because I started to see, man, Mr. Brown come to everything. So maybe, I need to support him more. And, creating those, relationships with the people who come out to see it, or who, I have Tanelia. I don't know if you remember Tanelia. Tanelia, if she can't come, she'll send ticket money. Right. Or she'll share it with somebody and give the tickets and say, give this ticket to somebody else. And it's crazy because we focus on the people who don't care. I'm gonna focus on those five people who always support me no matter what, who always, tune in. And it's not about the financial support, but just, the people who there for you. Mr. Brown giving likes, and this person
share my post.
Tickets. Yes, that's it. You only got watches, just share it.
Just anything. Right. I promise you, I'm contemplating going live. I contemplated going live like a couple of days ago, and I said, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the amount of subscribers that I have right now.
Right.
They are not watching my content right now. And I have talked to a bunch of people about my show, and they're like, oh, yeah, I remember that. You remember you telling me something about that. I said, yeah. So here's my channel. It's like, oh, okay, let me subscribe to it. But I've been told you about
and I'm like 10 shows in at this point.
Right.
Something, and that's another thing. You don't know who watching.
Right.
We don't know who watching, and we don't know who's supporting. So I tend to complain. I used to complain, even with doing the radio. This is like year 7 for me, and I had to stop complaining because people it's so many people who I've gotten jobs from and opportunities from, and I didn't even know they were watching or had watched, or people who was like, that interview between such and such, and I'm like, damn, you watched that? And we have to begin to really focus in on those people who do. So you know what I did? I just went through my Facebook, and all the people who I know don't support, I had to erase them from my page because I needed to make room on my Facebook and my Instagram and my YouTube for people who wanted to watch. So I'm not gonna keep on letting you fill my page up because you're a family or friend or somebody I went to school with. So I'm gonna just say, hey, you got my phone number, call me, and make room for the next person. And it's no hard feelings, no feelings lost, but we have to begin to focus on the things that support us and not the things that bring us down. And that's my motto now. And I'm watching as I grow now because of that. And my subscriptions and all those things, they grow when you focus on the people that are supporting you. We'll let people comment under our posts and don't say anything to them, but we go right to our friends' pages who did not watch, and we go like, why didn't you watch the show? Versus going to talk to those people who were watching the show.
Right.
And it's just a thing for us as artists. We yearn for acceptance. We yearn for it. It almost fuels us, and
it comes with the job.
Right.
It comes with it.
But we want the respect from the people who aren't willing to give it. And those people are just waiting for us to be mentioned by somebody. I notice when I work with this director or this person says my name, then I get these group of people who speak to me now or who talk to me now. But you are only waiting for me to succeed or be validated by somebody. It's a sad thing that we have to, this group of people who are popular has to say the name of your production or post your flyer before people like, oh yeah, let me get that. Let me get a ticket to that. No, so now don't even worry about them. They go come around when Oprah's saying your name or when your name is up in big lights. So
exactly,
it's gonna come. It's that non-traditional path that we all have to follow, and we forget some of the people that we look up to as in terms of celebrities. We don't realize how long it took them to be put on, or when they decided to gear it up and get into the business. We forget that. We only hear the childhood stories. And
there's
we don't
saying you never know how many mistakes are in a masterpiece.
Right. In terms of what you have to do now, you spoke a little bit about your YouTube channel. Can you tell me the basis of it and why you decided to start doing it?
Well, I actually had that channel for, I want to say, about, it's going to be about 2 years now at this point.
Right.
And I've been told since I was a teenager by my mother, you need to start a YouTube channel, you need to start a YouTube channel. And for so long, I didn't want to be noticed as a singer who acts.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to just be a performer. So it took me forever and a day to actually start one. But when I finally did, it still took me forever and a day to actually put stuff out. So it actually came about when I was working on the Odyssey. I'm a singer for I was a singer for the Odyssey in DC. And I was on stage and I was performing. I felt good. My face was beat. My hair was laid. You know, my voice was great. The lighting was hitting me at the right axis. Everything was just going right. And then I finished hitting the note. I didn't crack once. Hallelujah. All that. And then as soon as I finished, all I heard was this. Not a clap, not a woo, not a yas, girl, you did that. Nothing, not a nair, nothing. And so I talked to the DJ that was there, and I was saying exactly that, and they started laughing, like, you should record that. That's hilarious. And then I started doing other things that were similar to it, and I'm like, you know what? That really bothers me. That really grinds my gears. You know what? Better yet, that really sours my nose, and that's where the channel came from. The show came from.
Mm-hmm.
So it just came out of me being really irritated by little nitpicky things, and I'm quite sure I'm not the only person that's in this industry.
You're not. You trust me. Some of us have learned.
And then I wanted to put out my music and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to put out, original songs as they come. I wanted to put out, songs from my concerts and everything. Mm-hmm. So I did have a surplus of stuff to give to the audience. By that, I mean the viewers watching. So it really just came out of that. And so I decided to go live on my birthday, which was March 26th of this year. I said, I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to share as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And after a while, like I'm starting to notice that my share posts with regards to my YouTube channel are kind of being swept under the rug. Like nobody's even liking my posts like that anymore. People used to like it or people used to comment under it or something like that. Now they kind of don't do that too much anymore. And I started a whole new series. The new series is Cooking is So Simple. And it's
they're watching,
a spoof of a cooking show. Yeah,
but
they are.
Know that they're
Some of them are watching.
Just know that they're watching, and I don't know why people, and I had to check myself because there are times I watch things and I don't comment or I don't like it. And I think this is still new to us. Even though it's years into it, it's still a new platform because it's TV. YouTube has become our TV. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram has become our TV. And you don't like TV, you just watch it. You continue to watch it. One of the things that I want all of us that outlet on YouTube or social media in general, we have to stop being so demanding to our audiences because it's really their choice. And as artists, we don't have to be doing this, and on the other side, they don't have to be supporting us. And I just want all of us to, because now, even with this digital thing we're doing right now during quarantine, everybody starts their show the same way. Can you hear me? I just want to make sure you can, like, the insecurities are coming out. And that's beguiling the forcefulness, telling people like and share. And it's I'm sitting there like, you can't do that to an audience. Like you can suggest things and throw subtle hints or subliminals, but to be that forceful, because they don't have to tune into us. They don't have to support us. And it's really
TV and movie is like lazy mentality, I guess, for the viewer. It's like you want to put on your favorite show, you want to put on your favorite movie, and you want to sit back, relax, watch some stuff. You might pop your popcorn, but even after you pop your popcorn, you just sitting there eating your popcorn. That's about as interactive as it gets. With YouTube, it is based off of your interaction with it. You have to like and comment and share. You have to subscribe in order for, you to gain an audience, in order for the quality of the show to get better, and this just goes beyond actually getting monetized and paid through YouTube. You have to gain the audience first. That's what everything is now.
But that's come from a place of the powers that be dangling these opportunities in front of us. And it's going to really take us changing how they control this before we don't have to do that with our audiences. Because I liken it to, you used to post stuff about being a server. And I would debate on your post, because that's the one thing that I still can't get in my head. How does the patron become responsible for your paycheck? And you letting this whole restaurant or owner get away with not paying you. And I'm saying, do you know how wealthy people are who own restaurants? Even the hole in the walls. But it's that whole thing. We have to change their mentality. We have to change how they structure their business, because tipping has turned into an obligation for me. Now on Grubhub and DoorDash, there's if you want to get your food faster, pay $1 or some change. No, nigga, how about you place the order as it comes in and get it out the door?
That option does not exist. You're kidding me. That is not an option.
That is an option now, to expedite your order. And many businesses are doing it. And that's a business model. So if we offer them expedited services, but if you did what the hell you supposed to do in the beginning, I wouldn't have to pay extra to get my stuff there sooner.
But companies are doing that because of the quarantine and everything that was shut down. Like just the other day, we were watching, Clutch and I were watching a Real Nigga Show at Tierra downtown. When we got the bill, I had ordered one drink. It was a trash can, okay, no judgments. But I ordered one drink, okay? And we had I think we had an appetizer that we shared, and then we had 2 other appetizers that was our meal, essentially. And that was it. Standard, simple order. Why a trash can that normally costs between $10 and $12, because it's a bigger drink, why was I charged $16? And I asked, why was I charged $16? Because they charge you for the Red Bull that goes into the drink now, because that's how, and the server explained it to me, that is how they are making up for lost costs over the quarantine.
But what lost cost did you get? Any restaurant that delivers, I don't want to hear that from them. And I've had to take my order that I just got from Grubhub, walk my ass to the restaurant that may be a couple blocks away. Don't judge me either. But I'm not paying for this. This is not worth $30. No.
Right. And they double your amount. They doubled the amount. Yes. We ordered some food that only came to, I think it was $14 or $15. Why am I paying you $30-something just to have it delivered?
We have to change. Us as consumers have to change how things are done. And it's crazy because now I'm on both sides of it. I'm in spaces where it requires, like we in theater, so we got to sell tickets. I'm on the radio. That causes, subscriptions and sponsorship. But at the same time, we have to change the way people price. And I know that's business, but business is not getting over with people. And that we have to figure it out how we charge people. And it's not, the Red Bull is a great ingredient in it.
Right.
So either you should have already included that in the price, or you shouldn't be charging people extra.
You know what? Better yet, take away some of the money, because I didn't ask for this ice that you put in my drink. I just wanted the liquor and a little bit of juice and this Red Bull. You gave me the ice. So I didn't ask for this. So I need that to be refunded back. about that?
But
No?
again, I just remember because that was kind of, I think, your earlier days of vlogging, because I remember that post several times, and I'll be like, no, I'm not letting them get away with this. Nope. Because that restaurant owner is making 400% on this one meal, and he going to the grocery store just with my bill alone. So nope, tipping is based on your service, not on my responsibility. And I
do that. And I have been a server. So
it was your post that I was talking.
I know it was my post, but I'm just saying, in the later years, once you've lived and learned a little bit more, I tend to tip more on service rather than, oh, this is the percentage that's here. If I know that you were late, and I've walked out on bills before and it was busy. I've walked out on bills before and it was slow. And I'm like, I've done this. I've done your job before. I know how hectic it can be. And I've still provided service. Why is it any different right now? You know what? Right. And then I've been disrespected. I've been all kinds of stuff. I'm like, okay, so you take this. That's the receipt. You take that, and I'm gonna go this way, and you can comp that out at the end of the night. Well, man, we can't leave because you have to pay this.
Tierra that I used a couple years ago. That's not the Tierra that I did.
Oh no, baby, look. When I tell you, there's a manager that is still standing in the middle of a Friday somewhere in this city, holding that receipt, looking befuddled, bewitched, bewildered, trying to figure out what to do with this receipt. Child, look. I'm telling you, I have done it, but I tip based off of your service. And sometimes I'll tip more than what it says, or I'll tip less than, depending on one, my pocket, and two, your service.
But especially now. And see, and I can't wait for you to start talking about these things, because those are the things that really sour my nose. Just getting over with people. And it's as an artist.
Here's the thing with that. So. And a lot of people have come to me and said to me, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about that in the Sour Notes? And I said, well, Sour Notes, when I came up with it, is about things that the performer goes through. And they say, yeah, but you're marketing to such a small audience. And I said, well, it's an audience that people aren't necessarily marketing to. They aren't talking about. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to appease the masses as well. And so I am writing a new series that is literally exactly like Sour Notes, but it doesn't talk about anything dealing with performance. I actually wrote some stuff already talking about traffic. How dare you slow down and stop at a yellow light? When I was going 50 miles in a 25 and you saw me coming up on you, you should have moved out the way. We both could have made this light.
But a lot of those things that you talk about on Sour Note, it's relatable. That's one of the reasons I expanded the Artist Exchange to include entrepreneurs and community leaders, was more so because I've realized a lot of the things that we go through are things that all individuals go to, because at some point, even if I'm working a 9 to 5, I'm still an entrepreneur. I'm giving you, you're paying me for my services, and that's no different than an entrepreneur. But it really. It's relatable information, and I enjoy watching it, because those are some of the things that I've gone through. And I know some of the things are specific to your experiences, but a lot of the things are universal things that we go through. That whole thing about, image and how I'm perceived from, casting directors and such. It has to. A lot of that conversation has to be made, for the masses to hear, because it's often the audience that determines what they like. But at the same time, it's some person who's detached from everything that is making decisions on the things that I get to watch, or what's available for me to watch. And it's crazy. I'm thinking about P-Valley right now, and there are people that are pissed off that it's doing so well, because that's not the type of entertainment that we should be watching right now, in terms of what those handful of people think they should be determining what we're able to watch. And I'm scared that this show is not going to have a successful season, because they're going to put restrictions on it. And it's stars. Like if you put restriction on stars, that's you might as well close it down. But in terms of what you're watching now, talking about TV series and do you see yourself moving into that realm at some point, or would you like to be on a TV series?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If anyone out there has any sort of connections to take someone to that next level, please.
I want to be on P Valley. I think I got some stuff to bring to it. I take that pot all the way up, especially after last night's episode. I need to shake that up a little bit. Give him some real.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind it at all. I can see myself on TV. I see my name in lights in some way, shape, or form, whether they are the lights of the daggone Broadway stage or the lights in the studio audience. Something. Right. I see my name in lights just as long as I don't see the lights like in my little rearview mirror, because that means I did something wrong. Pull me over. Like, no, I don't want them lights. No, don't see me in them lights.
I want to move a little bit on to regrets. And a little bit about me right now. Some of the things that I regret is allowing people to tell me what my potential was and what my boundaries were in life, and even allowing people to put boundaries on me. Do you have any regrets in that area?
As opposed, not as opposed. You mean like in my life, period?
Right, not necessarily bad choices, but I should have went to this school versus this school, or I should have stuck to what I wanted versus letting somebody, determine what was next for me. School performers, we normally sit and wait for people to give us opportunities versus going to make our own, but do you have any regrets in that area in terms of your decisions or things you chose to do?
I regret staying comfortable for too long. I have anxiety like crazy. And I actually have a video about that too. And I was talking about how I'm always listening to the thoughts and the feelings in my head. I call it glitter because it's comforting and it's uncomfortable at the same time. It's like, oh, it's those thoughts that make you think, people aren't really going to like this, or I probably shouldn't have worn that. No, I don't feel comfortable. Maybe I didn't sing today the right way, and I don't want to crack. I didn't warm up or anything. It's those kinds of thoughts. And to be honest, when I did my first concert last year, the year before that, we were doing a lot of prep work for it, and so I'd already come up with my flyer design, and I'd already come up with the name of the show, all the other stuff. And I had to break out of my comfort zone and start going to spoken word stuff, start going to a lot of community things that I normally wouldn't participate in, but I'd go to. Like, I like going to spoken words. I like, doing open mics or going to open mics and everything. But to get up on a stage, that, for whatever reason, scares the crap out of me. Okay?
That is, you know how many theater performers I hear say that?
Because it's the lack of prep. We as theater performers, we are taught to improv. We have to be able to improv because if something goes wrong on stage, we gotta prepare. We gotta, the show must go on. All that other crap, right? Mm-hmm. But at least you had rehearsal. At least you learned the part, the part, you just dropped the line. Or this is supposed to be a quick change, but the zipper broke. At least what's supposed to happen. Regardless to being up. Oh, can you hear me? Right here. Can you hear me? That I'm gonna be like this.
Can I hear you? Can you say something?
Hi. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up.
It just went out. It may have been a short.
Oh, it says we can hear her, but they can't hear you.
Maybe so go out and then come back in.
No, read. You read.
It's you, Nate. We can hear her.
Read it.
We can hear her, Nate. It's you.
So log out and come
It's
back
not
in.
her. It's you. It's you,
not
Nate.
me, it's you.
So can y'all hear me? You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but
So I guess these of us can't hear each other. Monty, are you there? Oh yeah, I can't hear her. So this is what we talk about. The craziness that is, she was just talking about it.
I was just talking. He's saying this is what we talk about for those
There we
who
go. So
can't
we're
hear
back
him.
on now. Can you hear me
Can you
now?
hear? I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yay! Woo!
But this is what theater has prepared us for. Because sometimes you don't have a mic. What do? You know, and I hear so many, maybe because I just don't have that fear in me, and I don't care about messing up. Like I think many performers, we've grown into these perfectionists, and I think where we are right now, where everything has to be high definition, and you got to be beat to the gods, and everything got to be set up. That's why I think I chose to do my show during this quarantine from my bed. I wanted to be as comfortable as possible, and comfort is better than
and my little mascara, and that's what I got. That's about as much as I normally wear. I put on this little frill and stuff, but underneath of this, I got my basketball shorts and everything. Look, okay, my flip flops, my house shoes, all of that.
Right.
So I get you. I feel you. I'm there.
But we gotta learn how to just go for it, and I see a lot more people doing it that way. But we should already be at a space where we're comfortable with not only going to these events, but using them as our promotion and marketing, because that's really how it should be done. But I just don't have it in me to be afraid. I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm gonna say anymore because it's just we gotta get out there and do it at some point. You know, we getting older and you're not gonna go backwards. So you gotta at some point figure it out. You got some at some point
more
figure it out.
Get more season.
Okay, you can call it seasoning. I'm gonna stick to it. And I respect it because
in the mail. Look.
Right. Because I'm getting to an age where I was, you know, when I started looking at the Doug Goldmans and Jeffs and Tanelias and, you know, all those people who really supported me as I was going into the more professional side of my artistry, my Kaumba group and Roz and Elaine and Martique, all these people, Tracy, and we got to really figure out how to just do it and not be afraid, like just relinquish all those things that keep us, you know, held down and keep us, you know, hesitant and what if and I still do that sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie about it. And I just want to do better at, you know, showing myself. Troy, we just did Pearly before this catastrophe happened.
Oh, I saw it. I appreciate it.
Troy told me, he said, Nate, it's time for you to do something great for you. And I'm automatically with an attitude. What does that mean? What do you mean? I take care of myself. No, but when you are in rehearsals and you're not giving your best, it's because many times I was told on that very stage, like, oh, Nate, you know, can you just be less you? And I got offended. But the crazy thing was I never stopped doing this.
What does that mean?
It doesn't. I don't know. I guess who I was offensive to that person, or it wasn't offensive.
Why am I here? Why am I here?
They didn't have anybody else that was going to be dependable. You know, I was dependable Nate for a long time. And I let their opinions of me stifle my growth. And I won't ever do that again. I won't ever let a dean or a chairperson knock me down. I won't ever let a professor or director pick me apart. You know, if I'm not working hard, that's one thing. But I won't let you shrink me to make you feel better about yourself. But in terms of do you have any you said you have some new shows coming up. Let people know, where they can find you at on, social media. Drop the dime. Drop the dime.
Well, let me drop some of these dimes. Okay, so everywhere I am Sweet Tea Sings. So that is Sweet Tea with 2 E's, Sings. So tea like a golf tea. So Sweet Tea Sings on Facebook. That is my professional page. Sweet Tea Sings, sweet.t.sings on Instagram. And then, of course, Sweet Tea Sings on YouTube as well. I try to keep all my pictures relatively the same so that you can at least recognize them as you go across social media.
Okay, Brandon and marketing.
Hey, look, I got T-shirts and everything. We're working on a whole bunch of stuff.
She got merch. I gotta get into that part of it.
Yes.
I think because I do the jewelry.
Yeah.
I don't think about doing.
I gotta get that part of it because I was trying to do some jewelry and stuff too. But
it's an expensive habit. Be careful.
I know.
Lord, I feel like I got a child. This is like a child. I don't need any children. This is my child.
You find me on all social media as Sweet Tea Sings. As I said before, I am starting new shows on my channel. I literally just started Cooking Is So Simple, which is a spoof cooking show. I'm literally cooking stuff that everybody knows how to make, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which is what my last one was about, and explaining it in the most complicated way. So my peanut butter and jelly sandwich was actually called crushed peanuts with berry reduction over savory pastry. So if you
peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Put peanut butter and jelly sandwich,
Artists are so extra.
I'm just saying, but I have that coming out. I have This One's For You, which is the series that's just like Sour Notes, but for other topics and everything. Felix Chronicles is what I'm working on too. My cat Felix is a mess. So I decided to make a whole thing about that as well. Plus, I'm working on new music. I have come through. It's on SoundCloud right now. That is my first single. And I'm working on Shine On, which is my second single right now. I'm done, and shortly after that, and just a couple of other new projects as far as my musical adventures as well. With Epic Fam, Jackson, shout out to everybody at Epic Fam, all that good stuff. So, go check me out somewhere.
Well, I mean, is it possible? Like, because the first time I had you on my show, I kind of threw you a monkey wrench. So I figured, like, she's been on the show before, so she knows I throw monkey wrenches. But is it possible, like, at any moment, for us to hear, like, maybe a bit of a song? I'm not going to give out, like, what I want to hear, but maybe just, like, a snippet of something,
What did you want to hear? I'm curious to know what you wanted to hear.
I mean, the only song that I ever throw out is Misty Blue. Like, that's my karaoke go-to song for myself. But whenever somebody asks me, what do you want me to sing? I always ask them to sing. But I don't do that to people who write their own material sometimes, because I've been trying to get Mesa to sing that song for years. But can you sing anything? The alphabet, something.
Oh no, you said the alphabet. The first thing I thought about was Patty saying the alphabet with the Muppets.
Right.
A, B, C.
She did it though. She did it.
So my go-to, y'all gonna laugh at this go-to, okay? And I'm sorry for any neighbors that are around right now that's about to hear some stuff. And my dear working the sound. I'm about to say my dear working the sound. Just prepare yourself, okay? It says, "Can we end?"
No, that was me. That was me. That wasn't for you. That's for Monia.
Okay. Rock steady, baby.
Okay.
That's what I feel now. Let's go to song exactly what it is. Just move your hips when I'm feeling from side to side. Sit yourself down in a car and take a ride. And while you're moving, rock steady, baby. Let's go to song exactly what it is.
What it is, what it is, what it is.
I'm used to hearing the background.
I thoroughly enjoyed the series that you all worked with Troy Burton with when you all would do the cover themed concerts. You especially you and Tevin, I thoroughly enjoyed
Yes.
them. It was always exciting to catch one of them and watch you all do the performances. I love the last one you all did, but will
Come
we
on,
see
Poncho.
that again? Will that? Well, I know Troy is no longer at the
He's a
space, but
busy man.
yes,
But I will say he's been talking about trying to start it back up again
okay,
because it's been a minute for us to get back on the stage with each other. People have moved and other things have started to go on. So we
Okay.
are trying to work something out as far as I know. I know I'm already down. I'm also writing stuff. So everything on my channel you'll see that's written too. I don't think I mentioned that before.
okay,
But
okay.
yeah, everything is written, and I'm trying to work with Troy at some point in time on a script that's very similar to the show that y'all just did.
Okay.
So,
So your own is it a one woman
Mhm.
show? Is it a one woman show?
Not a one woman show, but it is a woman show. It's a women's show.
Okay.
It's basically inspired by a real nigga show, but
Okay.
it's from a Black woman's perspective.
Cool. And I know that's
Yes,
something
yes.
he's talked about before too. Because they to hear the
Mhm.
answer to this show because I know it's compared a lot to it's compared a lot to for colored girls, but I think even with a real nigga show, it created a lane in and of itself. Just we have a couple more minutes, but I wanted to like get your feedback on the show. This was my first time working with them on this side of the on the rehearsals. But what did you think overall? I know you've seen it before, but what was your overall thought about
Mhm.
this production?
Every time he does it, I go to see it. I either buy a ticket to it or I work on the show in some capacity. This time I was taking pictures for it. And it's an amazing, one of a kind show.
Mm.
It really, I try to explain it like it takes your thought and your idea of Black men and wipes that away. It really does because there's so many stereotypes and so many associations with Black people and Black men and Black women as their individual selves and stuff. And I think people, when they see that it's called a real nigga show, automatically assume things about it
Yeah.
that are just not true. We got a little bit of elements and stuff like that in there for just to be relatable to some of the
But
audience.
that's just that's still a part of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
That's why
made up.
it's in there, but it's not all that's there. It's
Yeah.
so much more. And that's the best part about that show is that it allows you to see what you see already in us and embellishes further past your idea of us as Black people, but more specifically as Black men. So
I think this was the first time that they brought up the idea of it being therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting in rehearsal and watching some of these young men who who wrote some of these young men who wrote some of these pieces when they were teenagers or early 20 somethings, now reading this and performing this and it hitting different for them.
Right.
It was definitely eye-opening to me, and it's something that I'll never forget the experience because many of these men, they have certain personas in their everyday life or when we see them normally. So watching them be as vulnerable on stage, and I think we've seen Robert be that vulnerable in the depths of it, but the rest of them have this persona where they these tough guys, and watching them lose it a little bit throughout the process in terms of catching themselves and feeling and not being afraid to feel. It was very much so eye-opening. I think it's something that is needed. It's needed, like the Black male's voice. And often we don't talk because women say, well, you don't ever share your thoughts, and you just hear the woman yelling and yelling, but it's never a pause to say, well, talk. in this moment, this piece was a moment to hear men talk, and not about women, not about their feelings or in it, but about themselves, and be able to express that. And I don't, even with August Wilson, I don't think I've ever watched something that was so about the male perspective.
Right.
And be no cut cards, or it wasn't ever watered down. And I would love to hear the woman's response to this. And I don't even think it's a response, but the perspective on their story without it being so butterflies and cotton candy, and it or hurt, or coming from, because these men were
or
not
always being ratchet.
Say it again.
Like or always seeing ratchet. Like there's an element of ratchetness that I'm putting in the show, because I have started writing certain things with it.
Right.
But I feel like being put out there, that's all you really see as Black women, is they are overly sexualized because of our natural curves and everything. So we're forced to be more adult and grow up a lot sooner in our lives. And then what you do see that's overly sexualized is then portrayed as ratchet or hood rat or ghetto, whatever those other things are. But never mind my stupid little hand motions. That's just for failed comedy's sake. But, yeah, it's for emphasis, But that's what I want to portray as well with regards to that. But both shows, I believe, A Real Nigga Show is a gem. It is something that can be related to now. It could have been related to 17 years ago when you first did it. It's going to be related to years from now, because it's something that Black men go through in their everyday lives. And just from what I've seen, because I'm not a Black man, but just from what I've observed from the Black men who I surround myself with, it's the stuff that they go through is very realistic to them. And to see other people's reactions to that are not Black men, that are not Black,
right? To
see their reactions to the show and like really take it to heart. Like, I had no idea. I didn't know this. Wow, this is an amazing piece. It's like, well, we're human too. Like, we go through this kind of stuff too,
And even from the perspective of non-male or non-Black people watching our material in these situations, it's crazy, because I think I'm not even gonna say it's a new idea for me, but people really see Black men as animals. So if we show any other side of ourselves, it's shocking. It often I've seen it be offensive to people. Like, how dare you have that depth in your feeling capacity, or how dare you go through life not explaining yourself or not feeling like you have a voice. How dare, but when you're never given the opportunity to show all of the facets of yourself.
How dare you be human? How dare you be upset about something that I'm upset about as a white man or as a white person or any other race? How dare you, not be our equal?
I hate that it still hasn't been, and I'm not going to say that because I don't want to speak limitations on it, but I can't wait until it's seen by the world. And I know we had a lot of different types of people that bought tickets to this one, but I have hopes for this, and I always had for all of our work, but I really want us to be able to find purpose in our work, so therefore we are pushing it more. And when I say purpose, not from the creator, but by the people who are connected to us. It's hard as a theater performer. I've done a little bit of like independent stuff in terms of filming, but I enjoy theater. So being a film artist, it's really, a theater artist. I want to see us more, and I don't want to see us just as August Wilson saw us. I want to see all the different facets of who we are, and I see the door opening up a little bit, but I also see still pushback, because people are still being admonished for their audacity to tell their honest story and want it to be uncut. But as we come to an end, I thank you again, Tierra, for joining me on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I hope this was an awesome conversation for you. We have to figure out some ways to collaborate, as we were talking the other day. But I'm serious. I'm all support. I'm watching, and I love the growth in it. I love your ability to choose a platform that is scary to you and bring all of yourself to it, and continue telling your story, continue being honest. This has been another edition of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Join us this Friday and every Monday and Friday at 5 p.m. for an awesome show. And just love each other. Give each other their flowers. Give people their flowers, and reach out to somebody this week, and that you haven't talked to in a long time. Somebody that you may have been mad with. Reach out to them, even if you never talk to them again. At least have a conversation with someone this week that you don't normally talk to. And that's it. I think tomorrow we'll have Talk Lately with Monty. And don't forget to follow the Artist Exchange Radio Show on Instagram, Facebook, unfortunately TikTok, and Twitter. I'm trying to be involved. I'm trying. And also continue to follow us. Thank you to all the people who have been subscribing to the Artist Exchange YouTube page. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to go over to Sweet Tea Sings Instagram page. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those things.
YouTube, all that stuff.
Follow her. Just follow her.
Follow me.
Subscribe. All those things. So
all the stuff we're supposed to do.
Peace out. And we're going to end with the same clip we started the show. We love you, Martique. And please, 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 if you can, support his wife. Reach out to her on social media. She's very responsive right now, and she could use all the love. His children, his mom, and many of his friends. So, peace out. See you on Friday.
See ya.
And I sure would like some sweet company. And I'm leaving tomorrow. What do you say? When I'm gone, you gonna miss me when I'm gone. Gonna miss me by my head. Gonna miss me everywhere. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bat my ass.
He looked like he just got a new car. He just saw that shit get backed into by a big